into your clothes and come. I'll wait for you in the sitting room. I've just received a note from Inspector Lestrade, a letter from the suburbs. He is in need of my presence. Whenever he has asked for my assistance, it has always turned out to be entirely justified. I fancy that every one of his cases has found its way into your collection.
Yes, they all seem worthy of...
However, I regret your fatal habit of looking at everything from the point of view of a story instead of a scientific exercise.
Oh, Holmes, you...
I beg your pardon, I digress. It would be much better to examine this letter than to try to convince you.
Un momento. Seguirá mirando a la tía. ¿Y ahora por qué está esto en rojo? Mira a la tía todo el rato.
The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look.
I agree with you, Toby, that Watson's shoe is preferable to Mrs. Hudson's cold cuts.
The letter is on the table, Holmes. You should take a look.
Hay muchas tables.
A wax seal with the monogram E.B. I can tell from Lestrade's handwriting that he was in a hurry when he wrote this letter. The Brackenstall family coat of arms.
Mi querido señor Holmes, me gustaría mucho poder contar cuanto antes con su ayuda en lo que promete ser un caso de lo más extraordinario. Parece que entra de lleno en su especialidad. Aparte de dejar libre a la señora, procuraré que todo se mantenga exactamente como lo encontré, pero le ruego que no pierda un instante porque es difícil dejar aquí a Sir Eustace. Le saluda atentamente el inspector Lestrade.
So, what is it, Holmes?
Promising, as always. It appears to be a case of murder.
So you believe that Sir Eustace is dead?
I should say so. Lestrade wouldn't have sent for me for less. His writing shows considerable agitation, and he is not an emotional man. These people belong to high society. The quality of the writing paper, the E.B. monogram, their coat of arms. The crime was committed before midnight.
Holmes, how can you possibly tell?
Well, it is all thanks to Lestrade. He wrote his letter at 3:30 in the morning. Imagine the chain of events before that. The local police had to be called in. Scotland Yard was notified. Lestrade himself had to make haste there, and finally compose the letter he sent to me. All of that makes for a fair night's work.
It makes sense. Lestrade also speaks of the woman he released.
That seems to indicate that she had been held somewhere during the crime. Much time has been wasted. Let us find a cab and go to Abbey Grange immediately. I live in hope of an interesting morning.
Ah, Mr. Holmes and Dr. Watson, here you are. I'm very glad that you have come, but perhaps I should not have troubled you after all.
And why is that?
Lady Brackenstall has come to her senses, and she has given so clear an account of the
Sospechoso.
affair that there is not much left for us to do. You remember that Lewisham gang of burglars?
What, the three Randalls?
Exactly. The father and two sons. It's their work. They stole a silver service, which is of great value.
Sir Eustace Brackenstall is dead, then?
Yes. His head was knocked in with his own poker.
A violent act of aggression.
Yes, the poor lady. She has had a most dreadful experience. She was assaulted and tied to a chair. But I think that you would best see her and hear her account of the facts. She's in the morning room with her maid, Teresa Wright.
Where is the body of the deceased?
In the dining room. We haven't touched anything.
All right. I'm going to examine it.
Very good, Watson.
Eso, Watson, very good.
Lady Brackenstall awaits you in the morning room.
Lord Ramsay Brackenstall.
¿Que está muerto?
Lord Brigham Brackenstall.
Espérate que no sé cuál es de los
Sir
dos.
Warthen Brackenstall.
Todos son Brackenstone y yo solo me he quedado con Brackenstone. Así que uno de estos tiene que ser que se ha
Baron
muerto.
Lyndon Brackenstall.
Había otro cuadro ahí. Ahora vamos.
Ladies, allow me to introduce
Hola,
myself.
Morpeko.
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm assisting Inspector Lestrade in this investigation.
Mr. Holmes, I am the wife of Sir Eustace Brackenstall. We were married
Te
only
han
a
dejado
year
el ojo
ago.
guapo.
I am sorry for your loss. Please accept my deepest condolences.
Se va a casa otra vez,
I
tampoco tiene.
suppose that it is no use my attempting to conceal that our marriage has not been a happy one. I fear that all would tell you that, even if I
Sí.
were to attempt to
Te
deny
han
it.
calentado la cara. Vamos a hacerle primero el perfil. Por aquí. El broche. Origen australiano. El anillo. Le calentaba, tu marido también te daba. No solo
Can you
los notas que
describe to me
han
the
atracado aquí.
events of yesterday evening?
Is it really necessary? I have already told Inspector Lestrade all that happened.
Yes, madam, it is.
I will tell you then. Sir Eustace retired about 10:30. I sat in this room until after 11, absorbed in a book. Before I went upstairs, I entered the dining room to fetch a candle and... oh God.
Please, go on.
As I approached the French window, I found myself face to face with an elderly, broad-shouldered man who had just stepped
La
into
has
the room.
matado vos.
Close behind the first man,
Seguro que ha sido ella.
I saw two others. One of them struck me a savage blow
Y
with
no la
his
culpo.
fist
Si le
and
calentaba.
felled me unconscious to the ground.
And then?
When I came to myself, I found that they had secured me tightly to a dining room chair. It was at that instant my unfortunate husband entered the room.
He fought with the intruders?
Yes, I think he had heard them, for he was holding his stick. But they were three, and he eventually succumbed. One of them, the elder one, struck him a terrible blow with the poker. I fainted once more. When I opened my eyes, they had withdrawn. Then my brave Teresa came to my assistance.
Did these three villains steal anything?
Yes, I found that they had taken the silver from the sideboard. But you can see for yourself in the dining room.
You mentioned that your marriage was not a happy one. Was there anything specific that was troubling you?
He was not a nice man when he was drunk. And he suffered from dark moods, but nothing else.
Aquí está todo loco.
The bruises on your hands are at least
Oli.
1 week old. Your husband caused those bruises?
How do you... Yes, he did. He was very angry at the
Bueno,
time.
si la has matado tú no
Out of
pasa nada,
control.
¿vale? Yo
Again.
te voy a encubrir hasta el tope. Yo también
Sir
lo hubiera
Eustace
hecho.
was a
Yo me
drunkard.
espero a que esté
To be
dormido y...
tied to
¡buah!
such a man for life is worse than death.
Vamos.
Your ladyship?
Ok. ¿Cómo estáis? ¿Estáis bien? Hola, J Pro. Examinar el comedor. Y aquí tendré algo que examinar. Con esta podemos hablar. La criada.
Teresa,
Tú has
I would
encubierto
like to hear your
cosas.
testimony.
¿Estáis
Certainly,
liadas?
sir.
¿Te imaginas que están liadísimas? Fangirleo mucho, te juro, como estén liadísimas. Un plot twist del copón, ¿eh? La ropa. No, no vas a mirar la ropa, qué raro. Uy, ¿y esta mancha? Esa mancha me parece sospechosa. ¿Esta mancha? Hoy descansas, ¿no, Morpeko? Ayer
As I
estuvieron
sat by
hasta...
my bedroom window, I saw three men in the
los
moonlight
locos.
down by the lodge gate. But I thought nothing of it at the time. Oh, if I'd known.
And then?
Uy, estaba como
I went to
desenfocada la
bed,
cara, ¿no?
and
Ah,
it was
tampoco.
more than an hour after that I heard my mistress scream. And down I ran. To find her tied to the chair and him on the floor with his head smashed. That's all I know.
Ok, esta se va a hacer la de que... Ay, no sé. Por aquí hay algo, ¿eh? Cuadro.
These scratches are most definitely made by the picture frame.
Uy.
This is Sir Eustace's safe. There may be something important inside. I must ask Lady Brackenstall to open it.
Mucha pereza, en verdad.
This photograph
Están
of Lady
liadísimas.
Brackenstall and her maid Teresa
Lo
was
que yo te
taken at
diga,
a
esta gente
port.
está liada.
But which one?
¿En qué puerto? Me lo robo. Me lo robo.
So the lady and her maid came from Australia a year and a half ago on this ship.
Que seguro que tú no
Lady
tienes ni idea.
Brackenstall, could you open this wall safe?
No, it is my husband's safe. I do not know the combination.
We have to open it. Your ladyship?
Su señoría.
Let us try to open this safe. This safe can be cracked. I only have to pay attention.
No,
The dial will vibrate when it
no
is
me
set
gusta.
to the correct.
Vale, pensaba que me iba a vibrar el mando. No estaba prestando atención. ¡Vámonos! Voy a mirar a lo de la cámara. Sire usted, su actual estado físico y mental es muy preocupante y muestra graves signos de descompensación hepárica. ¿Qué carajo es descompensación hepárica? La última vez que le visité sus ojos estaban inyectados en sangre y su piel tenía un color amarillento. El particular olor que despide su aliento es muy común en las personas que sufren del hígado. Además, sufre de los abscesos en los pulmones que ya hemos discutido. Los calambres en las piernas los causa una alteración del sistema nervioso que a su vez está causada por el exceso de alcohol. Lo mismo ocurre con los temblores. Me está poniendo muy nerviosa la cámara, ¿eh? Ahora voy a ver qué pasa. Su hígado estaba muy rígido la última vez que le examiné, signo de que su cirrosis empeora. También muestra síntomas de ascitis, fluido en la cavidad peritoneal, a juzgar por su vientre hinchado. El dolor bajo en su costado izquierdo indica una dolencia pancreática que puede derivar en una mortal pancreatitis fulminante. Hay que ver los tíos con las motos. Su estado puede suponer peligro para otras personas. El consumo excesivo de alcohol rebaja su autocontrol y aumenta su agresividad. Estoy a su disposición para asistirle con este problema. Existen distintos tratamientos que podemos aplicar.
Antique coins, possibly of value, but they're scattered without care. Antique. It is common practice to keep one's valuables in a safe behind a painting. It should not really pose a challenge for a criminal. Lord George Brackenstall. The
Creo que está
Brackenstall
muerto.
family seems rather austere.
A este ya le podemos preguntar algo.
What do you know about Sir Eustace, Inspector? What was his reputation?
A charming man when sober, but an absolute demon when he was drunk. In such moments he was apparently capable of anything. Why, once he splashed fuel on Lady Brackenstall's dog and set it
No,
alight.
merecía
Another day he
morir.
threw a decanter of wine at Miss Wright's head.
The alcohol seemed to madden him.
To the point that we were forced to intervene several times to avoid a scandal.
Bueno, vamos al siguiente sitio.
You should
Eres un
examine the
mierdecillas.
body of
Encima
Sir Eustace
cazador. Me caes
Brackenstall.
mal. Ah, ya me puedo mover. Bueno, antes que nada... Mover.
This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. There is beeswing at the bottom, as if the wine had not been decanted before being poured. This glass has some wine traces, but no visible beeswing. It is rather strange that only one of these glasses has dregs of beeswing inside it. while the other 2 are clear.
No entiendo.
A decanter standing next to the open bottle, an inseparable pair indeed.
Como no tomo vino, vos no entiendo.
Chateau Calon Ségur, French
Uno de los
wine,
buenos.
Grand Cru. It appears that the bell rope was cut by someone taller than me. A fur trader's cabin.
No sé. Tenemos que hablar con este también y examinar el cadáver, ¿no? Pero...
A deer hunt.
El reloj hace ruido. No... Bueno, sí, el tic-tac, pero...
These wine bottles are expensive and mostly from France. A bottle of wine is missing here. This candlestick is valuable. It is interesting that it was not also stolen.
No sé, baula bola, has dicho
An
tú.
empty
pero-
silverware box. It appears that the intruders have stolen the contents.
Por cubiertos
The
han matado,
criminals
nota
did not
este.
thoroughly ransack the house. They only took a little silverware.
Ok. Vamos a hablar primero con el Watson, que este lo ha
So,
examinado.
Watson,
Ah, no.
what have you learned from examining Sir Eustace's body?
Well, I can confirm that the death was instant. Sir Eustace was facing his attacker when he received the blow to his head. There are no other
Es
apparent
doctor, yo
injuries.
pensaba que era doctor tipo de licenciado en algo, pero no, doctor de doctor.
Quite a
Sus
large
patas.
stick, a formidable weapon. Barefoot, he had therefore been in bed and did not have time to fully dress.
Patas.
That must be the murder weapon. The head was cracked with the force of the blow. It is covered in blood. Sir Eustace might have struck his head upon it while falling from the blow.
¿Y
That is
seguro?
one possible explanation.
Vamos a entrar por la puerta esta.
This door leads to the upstairs bedrooms. Apparently the criminals did not venture there. The hunting scene.
Floreciente negocio familiar. La banda de los Randall está de vuelta. Hace menos de 15 días esta infame familia de ladrones, conocidos como los Randall, esto lo ha aprovechado ella morpeco. Ha visto lo del periódico y ha dicho, mato a este nota, y ya de camino que está esta gente por aquí, pues le he hecho el muerto encima y nunca mejor dicho. Hizo su reaparición por medio de una brutal pero exitosa intrusión en una de las casas más adineradas de Sydenham. La policía ya está tras su pista, aunque los detalles del crimen continúan siendo confidenciales, incluido el nombre de la víctima. Un testigo pudo proporcionar una descripción precisa de los 3 hombres, lo que sin duda permitirá a la policía completar su perfil de esta familia de delincuentes. Nos tomamos la libertad de recordarles a nuestros estimados lectores que esta banda es sumamente peligrosa y a continuación reproducimos su descripción más exacta hasta la fecha. La banda lleva un tiempo considerable en activo y se trata de una familia que consta de 3 miembros, un padre y sus 2 hijos. Encima te los describe, o sea que ella perfectamente, sin haberlos visto en la vida, puede describirte cómo es. Mi teoría es o que la ha matado ella, o que la ha matado la sirvienta porque la sirvienta o la quería mucho a ella o está enamorada de ella. Esa es mi teoría. Y se estaba tomando unas copitas con el nota. Jack Randall es un hombre de unos 40 años, ya canoso, de estatura y constitución medias. Es el cerebro tras los golpes y mantiene el control de sus 2 hijos, que son de una edad similar, aunque muy distintos el amarre, de aspecto. El hijo mayor, William Randall, es alto y ancho de hombros, con una cabeza desproporcionadamente pequeña. Pobrecito. El menor, Melvin Randall, tiene una constitución algo más débil y es delgado como un rastrillo. Se busca la banda no únicamente por sus frecuentes robos con escala, sino también por su carrera en la piratería, de una brutalidad excepcional que desarrollaron antes de su regreso a Inglaterra. Manténganse alerta y que sus objetos de valor permanezcan a salvo. Vale. Y nos falta uno para conocer.
A
este caso.
description of the Randall gang provided by Lady Brackenstall is identical to the one in the Times article.
Se la aprendí.
There are 3 glasses on the dining room table. I was wondering if...
Oh, I forgot. When I came to myself the first time, each of them had a glass in his hand. They might have been a father and his 2 sons. They talked together in whispers, and then they left.
Your ladyship? Sir Eustace's doctor speaks of his violent behaviour.
Yes, Sir Eustace was an extremely violent man. A detestable human being, to be more precise. It is true that he once threw a decanter at me, and all because I dared
Te he
to
dicho
stand up for him in
de, por
defence of my
favor.
mistress.
Está liadísimas.
Sly devil. God forgive me that I should speak of him so now that he's dead. But a devil he was, if ever one walked the earth. We met him only 18 months ago. She'd only just arrived in London. Yes, it was her first voyage. She'd never been from home before. Wonder with his title and his money and his false London ways. If she made a mistake, she has paid for it if ever a woman did.
Está celosa del nota
She
encima.
doesn't have any friends here, so it was especially hard for her.
Ha sido tú, es que se sabe que has sido tú, Pues... No hay usted.
Sailor's knots. That's interesting. This rope was handled by the murderers. We need a scent hound to follow their trail. I will take it with me. This is the chair that Lady Brackenstall was tied. Let us see how the rope was cut. The fibers at the end of the rope are smoothly cut.
No,
Let
la
us
tijera
try
te lo
to find
corta
out
fatal.
what tool was used to cut the
La
rope.
tijera no. Yo creo que el cuchillo.
If I cut the rope with a knife, it matches the original.
La tijera, date cuenta que vas rompiendo la fibra para llegar a algo. ¡Vámonos, Toby!
Come on, Toby. We need the best nose in
Toby,
the British Empire on this
Me
case.
encantas.
Search, Toby.
Y encima inteligente, Yo lo pasaría por bobo. ¡Ay, que soy el perro! Me recuerda al Stray, al de los gatos. Y esta canción me suena, tío, de que yo la he jugado en otro juego, Creo que en el Insound Mind. En el Insound Mind creo que está esta canción.
The intruders entered the shed for some reason when they were making off with the silverware.
Ay, que puedo poner perro en tercera. Muy feito, mejor en primera, ¿no? No vas a entrar aquí, vale. Entonces me voy para atrás. O por aquí. Pues ese yo más inteligente que Holmes. Mira que le dije yo que... El juego que me regalaste tiene un sonido parecido. O es a lo mejor muy común. Pero esa melodía la he escuchado yo en más juegos. Y yo creo que en el Insound Mind. Como nunca lo terminé.
The intruder's trail is lost behind this wall. The criminals left the house through the French window. They walked to the shed, then across to the well, before fleeing by climbing over the wall. I wonder why they chose such a winding route.
Porque han escondido a cositas. Pues no sé, ya veremos. No sé, me suena mucho esta melodía. Yo creo que es del Insound Mind, de la pantalla de carga.
This hook might be useful.
Como el Inside Mind creo que era un juego indie. A lo mejor esta melodía es una melodía de estas de las que se puede usar y comercializar sin tener que pagarle a otra persona, ¿sabes?
This old suitcase sounds
Como
hollow.
de libre,
Must be empty.
tiene un nombre.
Small gardening tools, nothing of great interest.
No me acuerdo ahora mismo.
Bags of seed. Some empty bags were recently moved.
No hay más nada aquí, porque me ha sacado. Vámonos al poz.
There's something glittering at the bottom there, but how can I reach it?
Espérate, porque lo podía... Ah, no, vale.
If only I had something with which I could lift that object.
No puedo usar la
If
manivela.
only I...
Ok. Como está hablando no me he dado cuenta que lo he pillado la manivela antes.
Silverware. This is hardly a coincidence.
Si la roba, ¿por qué lo tiraría ahí, no?
The Brackenstall coat of arms. It appears that we have found the stolen silverware.
Y entonces tenemos ahora: Sir Eustace fue asesinado por una persona que estaba de visita esa noche. Fue él quien ató a Lady Brackenstall. Es alto y fuerte. Y buscamos un marinero. La persona que estaba de visita esa noche. ¡Oh! Este caso está perfecto. Está yendo sobre la marcha, ¿eh? ¿El que te
We
regalé?
found your silverware, Lady Brackenstall. It had not been taken very far.
Is that true? I am
Qué
very
psycho se
thankful
llamaba,
to
¿no?
you, Mr. Holmes.
Your ladyship? We found your mistress's silverware.
Oh, that's good news. You really are as clever as they say.
Indeed. Inspector, I have recovered the stolen silverware.
You are a wizard, Mr. Holmes. And where is it?
In the garden well.
Excuse me?
Unique, isn't it?
Rather absurd. What is the point of stealing silverware and then throwing it down into a well?
Perhaps it was used as a temporary hiding place. Or simply the thieves wanted to get rid of it. It is up to us to solve this mystery.
¿Cómo llevo las cartas? Un escándalo colosal azota a la alta sociedad. El célebre y notable arqueólogo Sir Rodney Bencliffe, cuyo orgullo de nuestra nación ha sido hallado muerto. El asesinato tuvo lugar en los baños romanos de Strand Lane, el lugar donde el arqueólogo, este es el caso anterior, llevaba a cabo su más reciente investigación. Pero lo más impactante es que el asesinato de Sir Rodney fue cometido por su antiguo amigo y colega, Percival Blinkhorn. La sentencia de muerte es el único castigo posible para un villano de Alcalaña. Será condenado a muerte al notar. Ok. La llegada del Rock of Gibraltar, supongo que estará en inglés. El regreso de un navío. El Rock of Gibraltar. Es que estoy acostumbrada a decir Gibraltar. Un carguero de la línea Adelaida Southampton, Londres. Edificio Cunard, James Street, Londres. Ha vuelto de su viaje de 6 meses con escala en la India, Nueva Zelanda y Australia. El buque transportaba a Inglaterra a la señorita Mary Fraser, heredera de la familia Fraser, propietaria de tierras y minas de estaño en Australia, que será la que tiene el ojo morado. Esta joven dama de gran belleza, según nos consta, está comprometida con Sir Eustace Brackenstall, uno de los hombres más adinerados de
Here
Kent.
it is.
Te hemos pillado. Tenemos que llamar
The
a
shipping
Wiggins.
company, the Adelaide
niño.
Southampton London line, and its address. Interesting. It must be the place where they keep the records, including the one for the crew of the Rock of Gibraltar.
I think that if you pretend you're from Scotland Yard, they'll give it to you without any problems.
But I have another solution. I'll call in the specialist.
A los niños.
Wiggins, could you come upstairs, please?
Un trabajo para Wiggins.
At your service, Mr. Holmes.
I need a register, my young friend. If you could borrow it, there will be half a guinea for every one of you. I need the crew list of the Rock of Gibraltar in 1893, and their current employment.
I'm straight on it, Mr. Holmes.
Do you really think they'll find it, Holmes?
My secret police is better than the Yard in many ways.
3 horas los niños para encontrarlo, ¿vale? Nada más, la policía hubiera
Here it is,
tardado.
Mr. Holmes. But we can't take it back. It's too risky.
Put it on the table. I'll take care of it. Good work, young Wiggins.
Aquí tienen
This
87
list shows
tables.
the senior officers of the Rock of Gibraltar, on which Lady Brackenstall and her maid made their voyage. Lady Brackenstall does not know anyone in England. This must mean that someone on this list is our mysterious visitor. And these are the lists of the senior officers of the Adelaide, Southampton, London Line ships. Let us find out who was in London upon November the 7th.
Encuentro el Thomas. Thomas
This
Walker.
officer is still at sea, therefore he cannot be involved.
Jack.
Captain Jack Crocker is our mysterious visitor. He was the only one around at the time of the murder.
This Crocker. Do you think...
It would be interesting to meet him. Our young friend should be able to find him.
Vale, nene, búscamelo.
Wiggins, could you find a way to bring this Captain Crocker here to us?
Here? Holmes, that could be dangerous.
No problem, Mr. Holmes.
El niño, escúchame, los niños son unos sicarios, ¿eh? Los niños van y encuentran de todo.
Mr. Holmes, I was informed that you were looking for me, and I'd like to know why.
Yes, it is important that we talk. You will soon understand why.
Vamos a hacerle primero el perfil, ¿ok? Mirada limpia. Honesto. Honesto, pero... Honesto, pero... A lo mejor él le enseñó a la muchachita cómo hacer las cosas. En plan, cómo hacer los nudos. Y los quieren implicar, ¿vale? Tinta de periódico. Botas limpias. Cuchillo de marinero falta porque lo estoy leyendo yo ahí.
You are acquainted with Lady Mary Brackenstall, are you not?
Yes, I think I do remember her. From when I was first officer, but I still don't see...
It seems your relationship went beyond that
Uy,
of
uy,
mere
uy.
passenger and first officer.
How dare you?
Indeed, how reckless a feeling is love, particularly if one is prepared to commit a murder in its name.
Explain yourself this instant.
You are aware that the murder made the headlines of the morning press. You read the newspaper report, but to your dismay, found it much fabricated. Once you learned that I wanted to see you, you came straight away. You needed to know what I had found.
You... And what do you know?
That evening, you were with Lady Brackenstall, despite the danger.
I'm not afraid, Mr. Holmes. Besides, all of this is just guesswork.
You would be right if there was no evidence.
What then?
Lady Brackenstall was tied to a chair on the night
Le
of the
gustaban
murder,
estos jueguitos, morpego.
and it was you who tied her up.
You call that evidence?
Yes, as she was tied with a sailor's knot. Your handiwork.
So, it's a sailor who's done it. That proves nothing, Mr. Holmes. I'm not the only sailor in London right now.
Pero el único que no
Theory is
conoce ella.
flawed anyway. On the night of the murder, I was aboard the Sharp. I was supervising the repair of a porthole.
At night.
It was an emergency. There was a leak. You can ask the ship's carpenter. He can confirm.
I'm sure that he can.
Perfect. In that case, we have nothing more to talk about. Good evening, gentlemen.
Se me está liando,
Holmes,
¿eh?
what should we do now? Would you like to check his alibi?
No. There is no doubt that these men will testify in his favor, and there will be no way to check.
So, what then?
So, we must work with what we have. We have all the puzzle pieces.
Now I understand why you dissected the bell rope.
Y no todo lo que llevo yo se me lía. Sirius fue asesinado por una persona que le estaba visitando esa noche. El asesino es alto y ágil, probablemente un marinero de alta graduación. Jack creo que eres un asesino y le llevarás junto a su cómplice, Lady Buckenham, ante la justicia. El asesinato fue cometido en defensa propia. Jack creo que defendió a una mujer ante un hombre violento y dipsómano. El misterio queda resuelto, pero decide guardarte el secreto. No hay necesidad de informar a la policía.
Wiggins, could you ask Mr. Crocker to come here again, please?
Right away.
Why did you make me come here again, Mr. Holmes?
It is over. I know that it was you who killed Sir Eustace Brackenstall.
What?
I know, because of the height at which the rope was cut. The knife used was a sea knife. The knots were sailor's knots, and not least the sheer force that was put behind the killing blow. And because you are the only one who knows Lady Mary Brackenstall in London. And because you love her.
It's true.
It is time for you to tell us the whole truth.
I admit that I loved Mary madly from the first day that I met her. But I never did come to visit
Me
her.
arrepiento ahora, lo podría haber
I believed that she
asuelto.
was in a happy household. When I talked to her maid, who told me everything, I was insane with rage. I was due to set sail for 6 months away. I wanted only to see her again. But it turned into a damnable nightmare.
Así la
when he
botella de mi
watched her.
país.
He dared raise his hand to her. He was not even worthy of licking her boots. Oh, I regret nothing. I admit I killed the monster out of love for her. She will forgive me if she is able.
Lady Brackenstall already forgave you. She said nothing.
Mary.
But that makes her an accomplice as well as her maid. It places her in danger yet again.
Mr. Holmes.
You would not have managed to protect her.
Till I die, do you hear me? Here is a letter that sets everything clear. And it is the one that should be disclosed to the police. I am the only culprit. Mary had nothing to
Puesito,
do with it.
mopeco.
Now it is time to end this.
Espérate, ¿cómo es esto? ¿Cómo es esto? ¡Toma! Soy una máquina con los quick times.
You should have let me die. How can I live if Mary suffers?
I am sorry, Captain Crocker, but there has been quite enough death in this case. Inspector, I give you Sir Eustace's killer. He tried his best to perform his own justice.
Well, I'm not surprised. Yes, it was me. I confess.
Here is a piece of evidence that can be used in court.
Perfect. A case that went smoothly for once.
Sirius fue asesinado por el capitán Jack Crocker, que estaba visitando a Lady Brackenstall aquella noche. Escenificaron un robo de la banda de los Randall. Crocker utilizó su cuchillo de marinero para cortar el cordón de la campanilla y atar con él a Lady Brackenstall. Tiró la plata al pozo. Cometió un crimen violento por el que se merece un castigo apropiado. Pero también pienso una cosa. Es que, a ver, el marido de ella en realidad, mientras no bebiera, era una buena persona. El tema es que cuando bebía se volvía todo loco. Lo cual no le exime de nada, pero era la bebida lo que le hacía volverse todo loquito. Vamos a dejarlo así, ¿vale? Personalidad tipo neutral. somos unos asesinos también.